Hello everyone, welcome to Green Gander 75. I'm Buddy Phillips. Okay, so we're continuing on our apron project, working on getting it cleaned up. Well, let's go ahead and get started. So our parts have been sitting in the purple power now for about 24 hours. A little longer than I wanted them to, but it actually shouldn't hurt them at all. So, okay, well, let's go ahead and get started taking them out. First thing we're going to do is go ahead and put on our protective equipment. Safety glasses. Our chemical resistant gloves. And I'm already wearing my apron. Alright, well, let's see what we got here. Looks like we got a lot of stuff came off. We're going to use our lid as our tray. Nasty stuff right here. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Okay, folks, so we got all the parts out. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to just go ahead and rinse every bit of this stuff off with a water hose. Get it good and clean. Get all the purple power off. And then we're going to come back, put away the purple power, and we're going to put in, we'll bring up the evaporust, and every one of these parts are just going to go in that evaporust for at least 24 hours. And then we'll come back and then rinse that off, and then oil what needs to be oiled, and then start the process to remove paint. So see you back in a couple minutes. I'm going to go ahead and get all this rinsed off. Okay, so we got everything rinsed off real good. So the next thing we're going to go ahead and do is put everything in the evaporust, get any of the rust, especially the flash rust that we're starting to get on the cast parts. Get all that off of there, and so okay, let's go ahead and get started. And we to make sure that when we're putting this, anything into evaporust, that we completely cover it. If you don't, you will have a line on your part that you will not be able to get off. You also don't want to leave your shiny parts in there very long, because it will discolor them. It will turn them dark, and you won't be able to get them shiny again. At least not without doing a lot of polishing. My evaporust here is starting to get a little bit old. Right along with the purple powder, it's about time to go ahead and exchange it for some new. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and put the lid on it. This stuff lives up to its name. It's called evaporust. It does evaporate. It evaporates pretty quick. It's getting real thick now. You can add a little bit of water to it to re-liven it, but at this point it's getting pretty old. So this will probably be the last time I'll use it for this apron. It'll be time to get some new. Alright, let's put the lid on here. And then we'll come back tomorrow and see what it looks like. Okay, welcome back. So this is the next day. We're going to go ahead and get these parts out of the evaporust and see what they look like. First off, we're going to go ahead and put on our protective equipment. Safety glasses. Chemical resistant gloves. Now we're using evaporust. Evaporust is a pretty safe product to use. You actually don't need to wear gloves. However, I think it's a good habit to be in to go ahead and make sure you always wear your gloves when working with the chemicals, just for good habits. You know, if you're in the habit of putting on, you know that you're always going to be wearing them when you need them. So, good habits. We like good habits. Okay, let's go ahead and see what we got here. Oh yeah, that looks good. They get a little bit of a film on them that we will knock off when we rinse them off. And we're going to go ahead and rinse these parts. That's just my preference. You actually don't have to rinse them. You can just let them air dry, and the evaporust actually will leave kind of a film on them that will protect them. And me personally, I like to go ahead and rinse them off, and then rub them down with a little bit of oil to keep them protected. Just my personal preference. So far, everything is looking really, really good. I couldn't be happier. So I'm going to go ahead and take these out. I'm going to rinse them out on the water water hose, and then they'll be ready for light coat of oil, and then a few of these parts will be ready to go ahead and get ready to do some stripping of the paint. So be back in a minute. Got everything dried off. Next thing we're going to go ahead and do is wipe down all the parts with some oil, just some lightweight oil, just to keep them from rusting again, and you know, just keep them protected until we get everything put to get back together over the next week or so. I will not oil the cast iron parts because they will be painted. So I'm just going to set them aside. They'll probably get a little bit of flash rust on them. If they do, before I paint them, I'll just wipe them down with maybe some acetone or mineral spirits. The paint I'm using is actually made for rust like that, flash rust. So I'm not really too worried about that. It'll coat it, and I've never had any rust bleed through. So I'll go ahead and set these cast iron parts off to the side. We'll put them over on the paint table. Let's go ahead and get all this wiped down with some oil. Cue the music. Okay, so that should wrap it up for this evening. Everything is oiled, and that should keep them protected from any rust until we're ready to put this apron back together. Next up will be to just to start stripping the old paint off, and then getting everything ready to be painted. So we're moving right along with this project. I'm very happy with the way things are going, and I'm very, very pleased. So I'd like to thank you for watching. I'd like to thank you to all my new subscribers. If you haven't already subscribed, I would encourage you to go ahead and take a moment and click subscribe. Link down below. And that way you'll be kept up to date with my videos. I try to put out a video every Monday. And if you like what you see, give me a good thumbs up. I like to hear from your comments too. I like to respond back to you every chance I get, and I really enjoy hearing your input on what's going on, and also finding out what's going on with your project if you're working on something similar. So I guess that is it for this evening, and once again, I'd like to thank you for watching, and y'all have a good evening.